It's not insensitive or hateful to want to prioritize homeless people of a country over immigrants to that country. Anytime there's an article or discussion about current homeless rates in any given country, there will be a handful of comments giving out about how immigrants to the country can be prioritized over the current homeless population in the country. These comments are usually called out as insensitive and rude. Obviously, the blame doesn't fall on the refugees, or the homeless. The blame should be put solely on the governments who let this crisis grow worse and worse, but I see nothing wrong with people being upset that residents of their own country aren't being given priority. Edit, I feel I should clarify, I'm currently living in Ireland, where we are experiencing our own homeless crisis as a result of massively high rents in Dublin City forcing people out onto the streets pretty much. I haven't looked as far into the issue currently in America, as I haven't had a chance to come to an opinion on, so I don't feel informed enough to comment as though my opinion carries much weight. They're upset about it, but then when it comes time to do something about the homeless, nothing is done. It's a 2-for-1 stroke, don't do anything for immigrants or the homeless. Insensitive, probably not, a cover for not helping either immigrants or homeless people, absolutely. This is why people ignore this as a serious idea. Or veterans. Here's the main issue, cutting support for immigrants will do nothing for the homeless. The government does not give a flying fuck about the homeless. Any support that was given to immigrants, in this hypothetical cutoff, will literally go anywhere else that isn't dealing with homelessness, but it is sure as hell a good way to sell some voters the idea of cutting off immigrants/refugees. My question to you would be, why do you think we have to choose between our own homeless and immigrants? I think the insensitive part of this is pitting two unfortunate groups against each, whereas we could definitely help both if we wanted to. Immigrants do jobs Americans won't do. Wrong. They steal low-skilled and tradesman jobs. I see many homeless in my town that once did construction cleanup, labor jobs, etc. America first. Citizens first. I hear you and agree with you to a point. But how would you solve the issue of homelessness in the first place? How do we prevent people from getting homeless? How do we give homeless people a permanent shelter and a job? 'Cause there is only so much control a government can exercise before it becomes undemocratic. Some people just truly fuck up so hard that they lose everything. It's sad and we should help them. But we shouldn't prioritize a certain demographic over another. We need tangible solutions. Certain first world countries like the US or Germany have enough resources to solve many issues at the same time, but fail to do so because of incompetency, greed and corruption. I think the issue is that nobody gives a shit about homeless people or immigrants. And the people who tend to be incredibly vocal about immigrants being given the support they need are the urban affluent, myself included, and are either desensitized to homelessness, are too caught up in themselves to care, or their local government has swept the issue under the rug. That's not to say your claim isn't valid, but I don't know that prioritizing one over the other is the right answer. I think it's more we need sustainable solutions overall to prevent homelessness and thus make a better world more apt to suit high immigration rates. Okay, great, now actually do something this time. Strange how the homeless only ever seem to be brought up as a cudgel to use against immigrants, and it never translates into actually helping the homeless. I bet everyone who says homeless people are more important than immigrants freaks out when they see someone sleeping on a park bench. Agree 100%. I live in Australia, which like everywhere does have a problem with homelessness that I can't understand in such a wealthy country. Our problem pales into nothing though compared to what I saw when holidaying in the USA, or more specifically San Francisco. I was shocked at how bad it was. I can't understand how Californians in general seem so concerned about undocumented immigrants' rights but yet can step over countless homeless people and not blink an eye. Hate to say it since theoretically I don't disagree with you, but this post demonstrates a complete lack of understanding on how governments budget. The government is too big and too complex for any single person or even a few groups of people to decide how money works. Let me explain. Homelessness is largely not addressed at all federally and is largely considered a local issue only, Money is given to a federal fund and local or state agencies can apply to use it, but don't actually need to explain exactly how it's used. Then that money can't be used for anything else. It would be illegal to spend that on anything unrelated to homelessness. So I'm sure you're wondering, okay, well, increase homeless spending or vet spending and increase it for homeless. But that can't work. That would be like the LAPD saying they should have funding over the FBI. Yeah, okay, sure, you can believe that, and perhaps the idea that local police should be supported more than the FBI might be correct, but there is absolutely no process for a local issue in one gov department to get more money instead of another. It just doesn't work like that. Also, as someone who's personally viewed and talked with homeless people in my city, there are quite a disproportionately high number of vets and immigrants, or often the children of. So should homelessness be an issue more so than immigrants? Yeah, sure, maybe, but since immigration is treated as a federal issue and homelessness is considered a collection of local issues, it's a false equivalency. Also, lastly, let's be clear, if you have never taken action to improve the lives of homeless people, no giving money doesn't count, and then you complain that they should be prioritized over immigrants. Yes, that makes you a pretty uncaring asshole. People are not logical, quantifiable, and sortable by your fucked up sense of justice. Homeless is not a status that affects everyone the same. Being an immigrant isn't a status that affects everyone the same. They're not competing against each other for care. Are we unable to do more than one thing at a time? Secondly, we don't actually do much to combat homelessness. Generally speaking, homelessness is due to mental illness crisis, which is healthcare related, which isn't being fixed in this country. Drug/alcohol issues, again rooted in healthcare issues. Financial/housing insecurity, which is based on the rising costs of living. When no one wants to have a living wage, then you're not gonna fix homelessness. So all of this is just anti-immigrant talking points. Cause a lot of PPL who say this are generally anti-healthcare reform, anti-minimum wage increase, and anti-mental health reform. Poor people south of the border shouldn't receive any much priority as poor people in Africa or the Middle East. We can't help everyone. And we damn sure shouldn't be prioritizing illegal immigrants over homeless American citizens. Fuck kinda shit is that. Housing and other resources that we make easier for illegals should instead be allocated towards homeless and severely financially struggling Americans. Seriously, to me, the common boner for refugees in the European countries over the locals in need is something I can't explain. Like, we have hungry and homeless people in need here in Germany, and people are ignoring that problem while making cute transparents refugees welcome, then complaining everything is getting more crowded and expensive. During the migrant crisis in Europe a couple of years ago, it was crazy the amount of do-gooders in the UK who were demanding people give Syrian refugees a place in their home, while ignoring the increasingly homelessness in and around London. Of course, anyone who pointed this out were instantly called racist and Islamophobic. Why is this getting upvotes? This should be a completely popular opinion. It's ridiculous that any money from a government goes to illegal immigrants. I think a country is right to take care of their own citizens before taking care of other nations' citizens. The problem with this way of thinking is that it presupposes that both can't be dealt with simultaneously. This talking point is often just used as a conversational device to shut down debate about providing services for immigrants rather than as an actual statement of compassion for the homeless. You see, the problem is, 99% of the people making those comments against immigrants don't actually give a flying fuck about the homeless in any other situation. Otherwise, I agree with you. You don't have a homelessness problem. You have a rich assholes owning more houses than they need problem. https://m. Independent. IE/Irish News/ over 180k homes left vacant in Ireland as 7421 people remain homeless. 3563865. HTML. The issue is that if you really care about homeless people, help them. Make efforts to actually go out and help your fellow American people that you care so much about. I understand why some Americans want to prioritize Americans over foreigners. But why are you letting them live on the streets, especially the veterans? Start a program to either get them back on their feet or get them the medical attention they need. It is, however, often used an excuse to do horrible things to refugees and still not do anything additional for veterans or the homeless. This used to be unpopular in Turkey, but as time passed and people started to realize those immigrants who were supposed to return to their homeland state and continued to abuse the government's payments, it's moderately popular now. I work in homelessness in the state with the highest homeless population in the US. There are tons of ways to help and get involved, many requiring very little time and effort. I'm tired of seeing people talk or complain about homelessness but not get involved or help, from either side. Almost all of the biggest and most supportive homeless advocates in this area are also the quietest. I wish people would not bring it up at all unless they are part of the solution. I don't think I've ever heard someone suggest prioritizing immigrants over the homeless, veterans, minorities, or any other marginalized group that gets shitty treatment in the US. Anyone who expresses anything along the lines of "we don't need more immigrants because we should take care of the homeless" or "the homeless have it better off than the immigrants so we should let in more immigrants," is creating a false dichotomy. Your response should be "we damn sure have a homeless problem, we damn sure have a VA problem, and we damn sure have a problem when we're putting immigrant kids in cages. All of those are problems we pay our representatives to fix. We don't have to settle for fixing one and not the others." As it is saying we should take care of the homeless first, then the immigrants is the same as saying fuck all the immigrants because, if history is any guide, homeless isn't going to be addressed anytime soon.